What's up, PGF Nation? Today, we're getting into my way too early 2027 mock draft, starting with the top 10 picks. And there's one player that is noticeably missing from this mock draft. It's going to surprise you guys. We'll explain why. The 2027 draft class is absolutely loaded, man. Cannot wait for this college football season. But once again, I'm Brad Fowler. He's Alex Higdon. Let's kick this off. Alex, which player are you most excited to watch this fall in college football? Let's start there.
Well, it's my number one player coming out for next year, and it's going to be Jeremiah Smith. I mean, what he's done so far, he hasn't disappointed since I think Marvin Harrison. I think they were both out there at one point on the field together. I don't know if it was just at one of the wide receiver, one of the quarterbacks thrown around or whatever, but they were definitely out there. And he was like, "Whoa, we see Marvin Harrison, but what is that I just saw over there?" So he's my number one, hands down player I'm ready to watch this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And look, we'll get it right into it here. He's going to be the first non-quarterback taken in this next draft, and I don't think it's even close. And I don't think we've seen a wide receiver prospect like this guy in a really long time. And Marvin Harrison Jr., who you just mentioned, was a great prospect. Like you said, this guy is just different. I mean, this guy is like Calvin Johnson different. Like when you see him, you're like, whoa, they just don't build guys like this every day. He's been the best player. I almost just said wide receiver, but he might just be the best overall football player in college football since he stepped on campus as a true freshman. I mean, that's how unbelievable this guy is. So let's jump right in with the number one overall pick. Now, how I did this was I went to the Vegas odds and looked at the Super Bowl odds for next season and just went from who has the worst odds and went down from there. So it starts with the Arizona Cardinals with the number one pick because they currently have the worst odds to win the Super Bowl. So that's how I made up this list. I didn't just pick it randomly for you guys. So the Arizona Cardinals with the number one pick, I have them taking Dante Moore, the quarterback out of the University of Oregon. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, okay, what about Arch Manning? There's no Arch Manning in my top 10. Now, people are probably listening to this going, wait a second, how is Arch Manning not in your top 10? Here's why. And I said this in the intro. It's going to surprise some people. I don't think he's coming out this year. And I think you're with me on this, Alex. And I don't want to speak for you, but I think you're with me. Everyone is projecting him to come out just like everyone was projecting him to come out last year. And I keep telling people, don't be surprised when this guy comes back for his senior year.
Yep.
Don't be surprised. This is a Manning. These guys are wired different. His dad and both of his uncles, they stayed all 4 years in school. I think this guy knows how important it is to develop at the collegiate level so you're ready to play on Sunday. I don't think Arch Manning is going to be in this draft, Alex, and that's why I've got Dante Moore number one to the Cardinals.
Yeah. No, I listen. I have Arch Manning in my 10, but that's just simply because, and I didn't do mine like yours, so we'll just go with yours. But I have Arch Manning in my 10 starting this year. I didn't have him in my 10 last year because I knew he wasn't coming out. This year, I think he could be on the wave on the wire, saying will he go or will he won't go at least until the end of the season.
You think it's a coin flip for Arch at this point?
I think it's a coin flip until the end of the season, until he has a full grasp of who's drafting number one. So, like, for instance, like you said, the Cardinals drafted number one. The Cardinals are drafting number one. I don't think he's coming out. I'll put it, and let's just say he has a senior year that lives up to expectation. I don't see him coming out.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think even if he has a great year, which look, I expect him to, I think he's going to have a great year, especially with what we saw in the second half of last year. He really started to kind of take that next step. I think Texas is going to be really, really good. But yeah, I think there's a good chance he comes back to school here. So yeah, I've got Dante Moore. Look, Dante Moore was projected to be the second overall pick in the 2026 draft and decided to come back and develop for one more season at Oregon. I think it was the right choice. He needed more starts. He needed more experience. He is one of the most natural passers in this class. I mean, the guy throws a really pretty football, accurate passer. I wouldn't call him a scrambler, but he has above average mobility, so he can elude the rush. He had 30 big-time throws, which was tied for the most in college football last year. That's according to PFF. And this guy did make some big throws for Oregon down the stretch and in the college football playoff last year. I think if he takes that next step next year, I think he's the most sure thing coming out at the quarterback position. I don't think there's any reason why Arizona would not be targeting the quarterback here,
Right.
unless Carson Beck just shocks all of us. But
So who do you have at number 2
all right, so the number
for
two
the
overall
pick
pick.
for the pick and then the prospect?
Yeah, so number 2, and once again, this is going off the Vegas odds. The Miami Dolphins picking number 2 overall in this mock draft. I've got them taking Jeremiah Smith, who you just mentioned, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Truly elite wide receiver prospect. I mean, this guy is on a tier by himself, especially going into next season. There's going to be so much hype around this guy. But look, like we said a minute ago, he's been the best wide receiver in college football since his freshman year. 27 touchdowns the last 2 years. This guy has a really rare combination of size, speed, athleticism, football IQ. He's a smart player. And from all the reports I've seen, this guy has that internal drive to be an all-time great player. So he's got the wiring, the makeup, everything that you're looking for in an elite playmaker. Now, this is where it got interesting right off the bat, Alex, because Miami could be in the market for a quarterback. And this could be a very good quarterback class. So this was a difficult decision for me because I kind of had to, I'm kind of
You had to do no trades. I'm assuming no trades.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't bother with trades, and I kind of looked at it like, okay, if Miami is here and they stick and pick, I'm kind of projecting what type of year Malik Willis is going to have, because I had to think about, okay, if Malik Willis, obviously, if the wheels come off and he really doesn't look like a guy they want to build around, then I don't think Jeremiah Smith will be the picker. Obviously, I think they'll be looking at quarterback if Malik Willis really underwhelms. I think Malik Willis is going to do enough. Now, I don't think the Dolphins are going to be very good, and obviously Vegas doesn't either. That's why they're number 2 here. But I think he'll do enough that they might look at this pick and say, let's get him a playmaker. Let's get him a difference maker.
So let me ask you. So let's just say Malik Willis goes to the record, goes for 32 to 35, 25 TDs, 10 interceptions. You don't think they look for quarterback?
I think with those numbers, they'd have to feel pretty good, especially considering they don't have much on the outside, right? It's not like this team has a lot of playmakers. So if he puts up those kind of numbers, even if they only win a handful of games, I'd probably feel pretty good. I mean, wouldn't you feel good about those types of numbers there, that ratio, touchdown interception ratio?
Well, let's just say the quarterbacks, they all do enough to be ranked in the top 20. I don't know how you want to break down the players or whatever. I still think they go and they get a quarterback because he's only on a 2-year deal. And they drafted a lot of players this year. We don't know if they're going to work, but they did draft a lot of players this year, and they have a lot of draft picks, not in the first round, but in the rest of the rounds next year as well. I still think they will go after a quarterback. I don't think they would stay planted with Malik Willis, even if and that's just saying he had the year that I just explained.
The number 3 overall pick here, the New York Jets. Obviously, we know they're targeting the quarterback. They told us just as much with this last draft and the way they've handled this offseason. No disrespect to Geno Smith, but we know he's not the long-term answer in New York. So I have them taking Darian Mensah, the quarterback out of the University of Miami. And look, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are going to be mentioned near the top of this draft. This is the one guy that I'm circling, Alex, that I think every year there's a quarterback that kind of climbs draft boards, kind of comes out of nowhere, so to speak. Now, look, college football fans, I think a lot of them know who Darian Mensah is, but if you don't, this guy led all Power 4 quarterbacks at Duke last season. Now he's transferred to Miami, but he led all Power 4 quarterbacks with over 3,900 passing yards, 34 touchdown passes, was second in the nation. He's got a lot of composure in the pocket, processes information quickly, throws a nice ball. He's got NFL size. I really like Darian Mensah to take a big jump this next season, because he was putting up those numbers at Duke. And look, they don't exactly have a whole lot of NFL players around him. So he was doing a lot with not a lot of help. Now he's going to go to the University of Miami. He's going to have a better O-line. He's going to have better playmakers on the outside. Malachi Toney, man, that's going to be fun to watch. I think he could have a monster year. I think Miami's going to be really good. So this is another guy that could be showcasing his talents in the college football playoff. I like Darian Mensah to be a guy that could really climb draft boards quickly. And I've got him going number 3 to the New York Jets.
Okay. All right, I'm not mad at that at all. I'm sure New York isn't going to be mad. I think a quarterback, period, New York won't be mad at it at all. So who do you have at number 4?
Your Las Vegas Raiders, Alex, with the 4th overall pick. Now, look, they just went and got their quarterback. We know Fernando Mendoza. They've done a nice job kind of revamping the roster. We know there's still some holes. I think the one glaring hole, especially for a young quarterback, is at wide receiver for them. So I have them taking Cam Coleman, wide receiver out of Texas. Now, if you guys remember, this guy transferred from Auburn going to Texas this year. I expect him to have a big breakout season with Arch Manning and this offense. Kind of similar to what I just said about Darian Mensah. He was kind of the lone star on a bad team. Didn't have a whole lot around him. Didn't have very high-level quarterback play. Still put up good numbers at Auburn with some pretty mediocre quarterback play. So now you're going to give him a high-level quarterback, a big-time play caller. I think he's going to have a big year for the Longhorns. I mean, this is an elite athlete, big-time speed, incredible hands. I mean, this guy makes circus catches. He is a clear-cut number 1 wide receiver going into the NFL. And that's what the Raiders need to go give their young quarterback, is a big-time playmaker like this. He has the strength to run through arm tackles. He can turn catches into chunk plays with his athletic ability, can run the whole route tree. He can win at all 3 levels of the defense. A red zone mismatch at 6'3". This is a big physical receiver and with a massive catch radius. So circle Cam Coleman, guys. He's going to be fun to watch at Texas.
Okay, so that was 4. What about 5?
At pick number 5, the Cleveland Browns, another team that we know has been really doing a nice job of building this roster up for this moment, because I think they've been targeting this 2027 class just like the Jets, just like some of these other teams. So I've got them taking CJ Carr, the quarterback out of Notre Dame. Now, this is a little bit of a projection here because this is a young quarterback, had a really nice first year at Notre Dame, but this is another one of those guys that kind of, I think, is one of those guys that's going to kind of climb draft boards as we go throughout the season. You know, this is a guy who had a productive first year, threw for over 2,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, only 6 picks, takes care of the football. I love the mechanics I see from this guy, the processing. He's got that quick, compact release. So he's got great mechanics, throws with anticipation. His eyes and his feet all work together. I just expect a big jump in his development this year. And I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be highly coveted in this class. And Notre Dame, by the way, because we're going to be talking more college football, obviously, this summer as we get closer, but Notre Dame is a team that's absolutely loaded, man. This is a team that can make a run at a national title. So watch out for CJ Carr in year 2 with Notre Dame.
Yeah. And at 6?
The Tennessee Titans with the 6th pick. Look, this last year, we just watched them take Carnell Tate at the top of this draft. They go and get a playmaker for their young quarterback. I think they address the defense this year in the top 10. Dylan Stewart, the edge rusher out of South Carolina, man, this guy is fun to watch. I was watching some tape a few days ago, Alex, going back and just watching some of this guy's highlights. You want to talk about a super athletic, twitchy pass rusher. Look, we talked about this, Alex. The 26th draft got a lot of criticism for not being great. There was a lot of blue chip guys and all this stuff. And look, I get it. I do think there's some really good players in that draft. But a big reason why so many people are circling 27 is because of guys like this. Dylan Stewart would have been the number 1 edge rusher in this draft that just happened. Mm-hmm. He's that good. And that's not a shot at David Bailey or any of these other guys. This guy is that good. He is a complete player, elite first step quickness. I mean, this guy is twitchy, big.
And just real quick, so you have him rated above Colin Simmons.
Yep, and we'll get to him soon.
Yeah, no, I know we will. I know. Yeah, I just wanted to see. Okay.
Yep, I've got him just ahead of him. I love both these guys. This guy just his tape is incredible, and like I said, he's such a complete player because not only is he an elite pass rusher with a high motor, he plays the run, can set the edge, play the run, and a guy who had 88 pressures over the last 2 seasons. This guy's a menace. So Dylan Stewart, man, watch out for this guy in the SEC. He is a wrecking ball on the edge. Number 7 overall pick here, the Atlanta Falcons. I've got them taking Jordan Seaton, the offensive tackle out of LSU. Now, if you remember the name, it's because this guy was playing for Dion, Coach Prime up in Colorado, who's a big-time 5-star recruit. And look, you can see the tools. I mean, this guy's got the size, the length, all those elite tools is why he was a 5-star. Didn't develop into the player that I think a lot of people thought he would be at this point. So he decides to transfer to LSU. We're going to get him see him go up against some of these elite pass rushers in the SEC. We're going to see him take that next step. Once again, a lot of this is projection here, but I think we're going to see a guy with big time tools start to really showcase in his third year here. This guy is really smooth, quick feet, really good in pass protection. He can mirror edge rushers, strong hands. I just think next season is big for him. I think he comes into the season with big expectations. So he's a guy that hasn't reached that 5-star status that we thought, but I think this is the year that it all comes unlocked for Jordan Seaton.
Okay, number 8.
My favorite player that I have evaluated so far for 2027. And look, once, like I just said about Dylan Stewart would be the best edge rusher in this last year's draft. This guy would have been the number 1 corner in this year's draft if he was eligible. And that's not a shot at Mansour Delane, but this guy's the real deal. Leonard Moore to the Carolina Panthers with the 8th overall pick out of Notre Dame, elite coverage defender. This guy excels in press man coverage. Look, Marcus Freeman runs a pro-style defense at Notre Dame, so it's an easy evaluation when you watch this guy play in college football. He's got incredible instincts, football IQ, understands route concepts, 6'2", 197. So you're talking about a guy with size, length, rare combination of length, speed, agility. 5 interceptions last season, only allowed 12 catches last season. This guy is a lockdown corner, man. And I'll tell you what, dream scenario here is that somehow Ohio State and Notre Dame meet up in the playoff. I'm just hoping for it, Alex. Like, just please give us that matchup. Let the football gods smile down on us and give us that matchup, because I want to see Leonard Moore and Jeremiah go one-on-one, man. I think that would be one of those all-time college battles. This guy is just incredible, man. I think, Alex, this is one of the best cornerback prospects in probably the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's that good. You know, I started thinking about some of the guys we've evaluated, some of the really high-level guys. I mean, he's up there with Christian Gonzalez, who, look, we were higher than the consensus, by the way. And look, I'm gonna take a victory lap on that, Alex. We were higher than the NFL media consensus, and we were right, by the way.
Yeah.
We were dead right about Christian Gonzalez. But this guy's on that level. Like, when you watch his tape, like I said this about Christian Gonzalez when he was coming out of Oregon, I can't find the holes.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find the red flags. I don't see anything where I'm like, okay, maybe that's a concern. The guy is just that good, man. And so I'm super excited to see what he does this year at Notre Dame. Like I said, they're going to be loaded. I don't think there's any doubt they're going to make a run at the college football playoffs. The 9th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints. Now, you mentioned him, and I've got him graded really close together because I love this guy too. Colin Simmons, the edge rusher out of Texas. Another guy, twitchy, explosive, bendy, relentless motor, check, right? All those things that you're looking for when you're looking for an elite edge rusher, man. This guy just checks all of them. He's got that rare toolbox filled up with everything you're looking for. He led the SEC with 12 sacks last season, big-time athlete. The thing I love about him is not only is he twitchy, not only is he fast and he can bend the edge, he can convert speed to power. He can he can power.
He's big too. He's not small. He's like 6'6", isn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
He's a big dude. So the combination of the
6'3",
physical size, but not just the ability to bend the edge and get around you, but he'll just straight back a tackle into the backfield. He will bull rush a tackle right into the quarterback. This guy's got real power. I just love his tape, man. I think he's going to be a really fun player to watch.
So, and you said, what team did you say that was for?
Well, that's for the Saints at pick number 9.
Okay. Let me just step back one, because I think you had the Panthers before that, correct?
I got the Panthers at pick 8. Yep.
And I'm not sure about that. And we can, and again, this is just early on. I don't know if they're keeping Bryce Young.
Now, there's an interesting conversation, right? Because that would change this draft dramatically. And we'll talk about this more on another episode, but you're right about this. Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, who came into the NFL together, picks 1 and 2, you want to talk about a big year for those two quarterbacks. This is a big season for those two guys because CJ Stroud came out rookie year, lit the league on fire as a rookie, and then has really been on a steady decline since. Bryce Young came out, looked like a bust his rookie year, and he's kind of slowly climbing back. Yeah, now he's starting to look like, okay, maybe this is a guy we can build around, but I don't think you're completely sold on either guy, right? Like, both have kind of shown things good and bad, but it feels like they're moving in different directions right now. So this is a big year for those guys. You're absolutely right, Alex, because as deep as this quarterback class potentially could be, you could take a quarterback at 8 right here.
Mm-hmm.
You could there's going to be some other guys. Like I didn't mention some guys that we'll get to. And look, just let you guys know, PGF Nation, I'm probably going to finish this up and do the full 32. So look for that on the newsletter, glassfootball.com. Go subscribe to the newsletter, guys, because I'll probably put out the full 32 here in the next day or two. But there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks, man, that could be in the conversation there. So you're right. If Bryce Young doesn't take that next step, Panthers could be thinking, okay, maybe it's time to pivot here. So
you were at number 9.
Yeah, 9. I had the Saints taking Colin Simmons. Yeah, let's finish this off, Alex. Number 10 on my way too early mock draft, the New York Giants. I've got them going with Ellis Robinson, the cornerback out of Georgia. This guy is athletic. He's got ball skills. If you guys remember, he was the number 2 overall prospect in the 2024 class by 247 Sports. I mean, this guy is fluid, really smooth, has really quick reading, react quickness, athleticism. A former 5-star player that really showed a lot of growth last season. I thought last season he really started to look like the guy we thought he would be. If he continues to build on that, if he continues to build on that momentum from last year, which I think he will, I think that's going to push him up these draft boards next April. I think he's a guy that has the tools, the physical tools to really be a true outside corner, a starting high-level outside corner in the NFL. This is a guy who was second team All-SEC last year, 4 interceptions, 7 pass breakups in 2025. Ellis Robinson is another guy. Like I said, some of these guys, we've already seen flashes. And then some of these guys I'm kind of looking at, okay, projecting to kind of take that next step this fall. He's one of those guys that I think takes another step.
Yeah.
What about this, Alex? We've got more guys that we're going to get to. Like I said, look for that in the newsletter. Who's a guy that you think could sneak into this top 10 that I didn't mention?
David Stone. So in terms of, I guess defensive tackles, I would say David Stone to be the one guy I think that can sneak in. He's at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So yeah, David Stone is a guy I think could sneak in it again if he has the if he shows out this season. I could see him sneaking up in there.
Yep, certainly a guy that is going to be on a lot of people's radar going into this season. And look, just side note here, I think Oklahoma is going to be sneaky good. Watch out for Oklahoma in the SEC. We'll get into some SEC stuff a little later in the year, Alex, but I'm saying watch out for the Sooners here. Everyone's talking about Texas, and I get it. And Georgia's always, lurking in the weeds. We know we know who they are. Don't sleep on the Sooners. I'm just telling you, I got a feeling the Sooners could be sneaky good this year. So that is going to do it, guys, for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed my way too early mock draft for the first top 10 picks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, or that follow button so you don't miss any future episodes. Once again, I'm Brad Fowler. He's Alex Higdon. This is Pint Glass Football, and we'll catch you next time.